Mated to the Shadow Dragon. Shadow Dragon Book 2 Dragon Shifter Romance. Written by Flynn. 1. I knew I was dreaming, but what could I do? Dreams have a way of trapping you inside them, feeding you your own insanity as you struggle to make sense of the insensible. This dream, however, was different. I stood at the top of the stairs in Rodney's home. The lights were dimmed and the shadows crept out of their corners, grasping at me with their cold tendrils. As I stood there, a sound came to my ears. The noise came from the front parlor. I clutched the banister in one shaking hand and eased myself down the stairs. A feeling of dread fell over me, so thick and horrible that I felt as though I was slowly suffocating. I reached the bottom and inched toward the open doors. The sound grew louder, and I recognized the voice as that of a child. I grasped the doorframe and dared peek inside. There were no lights on in the room, but a small fire burned in the hearth. Its flickering light cast a soft glow over the parlor and revealed two figures at the couch. One of them lay over the cushions, and a blanket covered their unusually still form. The other was a young girl, perhaps 10, who knelt beside the couch. She wore a plain white dress, and her short hair bunched up about her neck. The girl grasped a delicate hand that hung out from beneath the blanket. There was a cold pallor in that hand that made my breath catch in my throat. Whoever lay on the couch, they were dead. The sobbing came from the young girl. The firelight cast her features in darkness, but her body trembled and the sobs rattled her small form. The noise wrenched at my heart. A final figure stood with their back to me and facing the fire. Their stiff, full form told me they were a man a little above average height. One of his hands clutched the mantel and his head was bowed. I hesitated, unsure whether to interrupt such a mournful scene. As I stood there, a sense of urgency crept into the back of mind. The flickering shadows seemed to loom closer, crawling across the walls and floor toward me. Time was running out. I cleared my throat, but no one turned their eyes to me. "Hello," I whispered. The reply wasn't quite what I expected. "Wake up." My eyes shot open and I started up, startling what had stood on my chest. Blackbeak fluttered backward and landed with a ruffle of feathers at the foot of the bed. It took me a moment to realize I was back in my room in Rodney's house, wrapped tightly in my blankets with a new nightshirt over me. The adventure from a week ago came roaring to life in my mind.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?